This is the Dad from MichaelShepard.net, coming to you from RCS Sports Parents and Coaches Recruiting Workshop 2007 from Houston, Texas, the only workshop of its kind in the United States of America. In this video, we continue with the great message from Coach George Raveling of Nike USA and the message that every parent and every player must pay attention to. So let's get back to it.
And so, how do I prepare my child to successfully function in each one of those three silos? A person, an athlete, a businessman. So we fast forward, and you're one of the fortunate ones. Your child becomes a pro basketball player. Did you, along the lines, give him a broad enough educational experience, a broad enough social experience? Did you parent him to prepare him for these things? That's part of your responsibility as a parent. To prepare him for this possible eventuality. Let's say to yourself, okay, what if I'm the lucky one and my son does get there? Did I do everything I could to prepare my child for this circumstance? You look around today, it's hard to pick up the paper when we don't see athletes making foolish choices, associating with people who they think are their friends, but really aren't. Look at Michael Vick's situation. One of the guys who told on him, I'm not questioning the morality or the virtue or any of that, of any of it. All I'm saying is, one of the guys who told on Michael Vick was a guy that was supposedly his best friend since high school. The guy never had a job. Michael Vick supported him the whole time. He put him in a house. He paid him money every month. But this guy was supposed to be his friend. So, you know, I think being a parent today, I think is one of the most difficult responsibilities that a human being can have. It's difficult raising children today. But you got to do it. And I hear a lot of parents say, oh, I don't want my child to have to go through what I went through. I'm going to be honest with you, I think that's BS. I think that you didn't turn out that bad. And I think sometimes they need to have to struggle a little bit in life. Sometimes they need to fall down and have to pick themselves up every now and then. But they still got to listen to you. And they're not going to buy into it right away. It's like I told my mom one time. I said, you know, Mom, when you was 35, 36 years old, I never thought you were real smart. But when you got to be 45 and 50, it was amazing how much smarter you got. You know, because as time goes on, you see the wisdom of your parents' ways. And there'll come a time when they'll come back to you and they'll thank you. They'll thank you. Just like my son came, we were riding in the car one day and he said, hey, Dad, the greatest thing you ever did was taking me out of high school my senior year and sending me to private school. He said, because I got up there, I sent him to a private school up in New Hampshire. He said, there was nothing to do, so I had to study, I had to read, I had to do all those things. And he said, you know what was amazing? My grades went up, my SAT scores went up, and I really actually started finding out that learning new things was fun. Well, hell, he was 30 years old, but it made me feel good to know that I'd done something that he realized made a substantial contribution to his life. And one of the reasons that, you know, a guy like Michael Jordan makes $60 million a year is that I think he realized in the early stages of his life, he along with his mom and his dad, I've had the good fortune of being real close to Mike. I was assistant coach of the '84 Olympic team, and I think that's kind of how our relationship started, and over the years I've run his camps for him and that. And each year at camp, some kid will raise his hand in a question and answer session and say, who had the most influence on your life? And if Mike would drop dead right there, I could answer the question for him because I've heard him do it for 14 years. My mom, my dad, and Coach Smith. Coach Smith being Dean Smith, the coach who coached him at North Carolina. So they all played a part in preparing Michael to be successful as a person, to be successful as a player, to be successful as a businessman. And so, as you watch him today, no matter what hat that he puts on, he's polite, he's confident, he's knowledgeable, and as a result, he's successful. The last 10 days, I've been going back and forth by way of email with our general manager of sports marketing in Spain, who sent me an email about 10 or 12 days ago saying, hey coach, I need your help. The Spanish media ran a poll this year and asked Spanish citizens to vote on the greatest athlete of the century. And Michael Jordan won it overwhelmingly. And I need your help to get him to accept the award. Okay. So here's a guy, a black athlete, non-Spaniard, did play in Spain and Barcelona in the Olympics. Here's a foreign country who picked him as the greatest athlete in the century, over race car drivers, over soccer players, over boxers, and so forth. And so what you begin to see is that because he got the proper guidance during his life from his mom and his dad and his coach, that he's now in a position where he transcends cultures and he transcends races and religions. And he's perhaps, the most recognizable athlete in the world. Some people would argue that Muhammad Ali is, and you could clearly make a strong case for that. In fact, there's a story that Bodini Brown, who was one of Muhammad Ali's trainers, tells. They got into a conversation about this. Who is the most famous athlete in the world, known all over the world? And when they asked Bodini Brown about it, Bodini Brown said, oh, it's definitely Muhammad Ali. He said, I'll tell you why. He said, we were in a trip in China, and we were driving out to the Great Wall of China, and as we got far outside of Beijing, we had to drive through some rice paddies along the road. And as we're moving along on both sides of the road, there's nothing you can see with the human eye but rice paddies and people in the rice paddies. Muhammad Ali says, stop the car. He gets out, he takes his shoes off, he rolls his pants up, and he wades into the rice paddy, and he comes upon a 75-year-old woman. And she looks up and she goes, and so Bodini Brown says, case closed. So, I tell you all that to say that basketball, athletics can do great things for your child. Take your child places they never thought they would go, meet people they never thought they would meet, experience things that they would never experience. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to prepare that child for those unique experiences. Because as the child dreams, you have to dream with the child. You have to help the child try to make those dreams real. And then if in fact those dreams are real, did I prepare him